What if Tony Stark survived Endgame? What if the man who snapped his fingers to save the universe
Iron Man.
got to open his eyes one more time? Have you ever wondered how the Marvel Cinematic Universe would have unfolded if Iron Man had lived past the final battle? Would the world have found peace or faced an even greater storm? In this timeline, we explore a reality where Tony survives the snap, broken, scarred, but alive. We'll dive into how his continued presence could have changed the fates of Peter Parker, Doctor Strange, and the multiverse itself. Would he rebuild the Avengers or become the very force trying to stop them? In the next chapters, we'll look at the consequences of his survival, the rise of Kang, the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D., the future of Morgan Stark. Because Iron Man was never just a hero, he was the foundation of an entire universe, and if he had stayed, nothing would be the same. The battlefield is silent. Ash floats in the air like snowfall. Thanos is gone. The war is over. But Tony Stark is still breathing. He wakes up in a haze of light and smoke, chest heaving, hands scorched, armor cracked, but alive. His heart doesn't race, it sinks. Because saving the world wasn't supposed to end like this. He was ready to die. He had made peace with it. Instead, he's left to live in a world that doesn't feel like victory. With Steve gone, Natasha fallen, and Thor drifting in the cosmos. The Avengers are no longer a team, they're fragments. Tony watches the world try to rebuild, while he tries to remember who he is without the burden of dying a hero. But the universe doesn't wait for grief. Rifts begin to open, realities begin to shift. Doctor Strange warns of something darker than Thanos. Timelines colliding, alternate selves emerging, a new war without borders. And then he sees himself, not just one, dozens. Variants of Tony Stark, some noble, some monstrous, each shaped by a different choice. He was once afraid of losing control. Now he fears what he might become if he ever tries to take it back. Peter Parker looks to him for guidance, but Tony can barely hold his own future together. How can he shape someone else's? Still, he suits up, not as the genius, billionaire, playboy savior the world once knew, but as a man who has faced death and now stands between worlds collapsing into one another. He survived, and in doing so, he may have just become the only one who can stop what's coming next. The multiverse doesn't just ripple, it fractures, and when it breaks, he appears. Tony Stark finds himself face to face with himself, not one, many. Some are scientists, some are warriors. One wears a white and gold suit that crackles with unstable quantum energy. Another never took off the Infinity Gauntlet, and his mind is shattered because of it. And then there's the worst of them all, Superior Iron Man, a version of Tony who never stopped believing that control was the answer. Cold, brilliant, and terrifyingly efficient. He didn't save his world, he ruled it. The original Tony, our Tony, realizes something horrifying. He may have survived Endgame, but so did every version of him that shouldn't have. While Kang lurks in the shadows, manipulating time itself, these other Tonys push the universe toward collapse, each thinking they know best. Doctor Strange sees the danger. Carol Danvers wants to eliminate the variants. Peter, he just wants his mentor back. But Tony now has a choice. Fight against versions of himself, or become something even stronger to stop them. The fate of the multiverse no longer depends on the Avengers. It depends on which Tony Stark survives the longest. And in the end, he may have to destroy himself to save himself. In the heart of the collapsing multiverse, time folds in on itself like broken glass. Worlds flicker in and out of existence. Every choice Tony Stark ever made and never made surrounds him like ghosts. He sees a version of himself who never stopped building weapons. One who married Pepper and lived in peace. Another who became a tyrant in silver armor. And then he sees himself, just himself, the man who once said, "I am Iron Man." But now, there's no stage, no crowd, no final snap. There's only one final decision, to go home, or to stay and hold the line. The new Avengers are already returning to their timeline. Peter turns to him, hope in his eyes, waiting for his mentor to follow. But Tony doesn't move, because this time, sacrifice isn't about death. It's about staying behind in the unknown, alone, so the rest of them never have to. He walks into the center of the anomaly. No suit, no weapon, just the man, just the mind, just the mission. The multiverse begins to stabilize piece by piece, and as it does, the rift closes. No explosion, no epic farewell, just silence. Back on Earth, Peter places a small arc reactor on a table in the rebuilt Avengers Tower. It flickers once, a signal, not an ending. Tony Stark is out there, not gone, not dead, just watching and waiting. If this version of Iron Man gave you chills, smash the like button to keep his legacy alive. Subscribe to Popcornverse for more mind-bending Marvel what-if scenarios, and let us know in the comments, which version of Tony Stark do you believe is the real hero? Because in this multiverse, every choice makes a different legend.